Welcome back to part 2 of Module 11, Lesson 5, which is angle relationships in triangles. The problem tells us that in triangle ABC, angles A, B, and C respectively are in the ratio of 1 to 4 to 5. That means A would be the 1, B would be the 4, and C would be the 5. That is what respectively means, that they go in that order. Find the measure of each angle. So let's take and find out what we have here. We're going to take and select a card to write an equation for the triangle measures with the angle relationships of 1 to 4 to 5. So we're going to go right here. And we know, of course, that the sum of the measures of all these angles are going to be 180, right? So we need to come up with numbers that go to that 1 to 4 to 5 ratio where they all add up to equal 180. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to select our variable, and we're going to let x represent the measure of angle A because that's the one-sided, right? And that means the measure of angle B, which is 4 times bigger than A, that's going to be 4x. The measure of angle C, which is 5 times bigger than A, is going to be 5x. And with that, we can build ourselves an equation that says 1x, or just x, plus 4x plus 5x. That all is going to add up to equal to 180 degrees, and that's the equation we're going to use to find out the missing values of these variables. So from here, they took and said 1 plus 4 plus 5. Remember, you have an invisible 1 right there. That added up to equal 10. Now they're not showing where they're dividing both sides by that 10. They should have, but either way, when you divide both sides by 10, you get x is equal to 18 degrees. So we know that measure A has to equal to 18 degrees. Now to find the other ones, to find the measure of angle B, 4 times 18, that's going to mean that angle B is going to end up being 72 degrees. We'll go ahead and highlight that. Nope, we won't either. Doesn't want to do that. And the measure of angle C, that's going to be 5 times 18 degrees, also known as 90 degrees. That's all there is to finding these missing angles. Now, you take and pause the video and work on this one, which has a measure of angle L, M, and N, which are going to be in a 2 to 4 to 6 ratio. That one's going to be interesting to do. Think about what it's telling you, and you should be able to figure this one out. Now, I'm going to skin this cat a couple of different ways. The first way I'm going to do that is I'm going to let x equal my base number. And it's going to be a little bit different than what they did. And by doing that, I'm going to say that 2x plus 4x plus 6x is going to equal to the 180 degrees. From here, I can take and say, add those up. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 6 is going to be 12. So I have 12 is now equal to, or 12x is now equal to 180 degrees. And I can take and divide that 12 into both sides. And when I do that, I should be able to do this in my head, but it's just not working today. 180 divided by 12, that's going to give us 15. These divide out becoming 1. X is equal to 15. From here, I know that it's respective, so L is 2x's. 2 times x is going to be 30. I know that M is going to end up being 4x's, and 4 times 15, that's going to equal to 60. And I know that N is going to be 6x's. 6 times 15, that's going to end up being 90. And if I was to add all those up together, I would get the 180 degrees. Now, just another option that you could have done on this one, you could have said, well, you know what, 2 to 4 to 6 can be simplified to be a 1 to 2 to 3 ratio. Done 1x, or actually we're just going to call that one x because we don't put the 1 in front of it. X plus 2x plus 3x is going to equal to 6x. I'm sorry, equal to 180 first. And then we can say 6x equals 180. I'm going to take and divide both sides by that 6. And when I do that, I can go from there. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times x is x. 180 divided by 6, that means that that one is going to be 30. So angle 1 would have been 30 degrees. Angle 2 would have been 2 times 30, which is 60. or angle 3 would have been 3 times 30, which is 90. Two different ways to skin the same cat. Jump back over here to the textbook, where we're going to put in our numbers 30, 60, and 90. Hit check, and the answer checks. Nothing to it. Now we get a new inquiry question that says, how is the measure of the triangle's exterior angle related to the measures of its remote interior angles? Remote interior angles. That's some strange language there. Let's get into this one. An exterior angle of a triangle is formed when one of its sides is extended. Okay, we're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. An exterior angle lies outside the triangle. We'll go ahead and add that to that other definition we just did. Let's double tap that. Boom. Now it's all together. Each exterior angle of a triangle has two remote interior angles that are not adjacent to the exterior angles. All right, so we got another definition there. In triangle ABC, shown right here, we want to take and zoom in some. So triangle ABC is shown. Yep, all right. But not giving us much information. Let's keep going. From here it says press show angle measures to show the measure of the exterior angle and its two remote angles. So we hit show angle measures, and it's have the measure of angle CAB. This one right here is going to be 44 degrees. We have angle ABC right here. That's going to end up being 85 degree angles. And then we have BCD. This is the interesting one. The BCD that you get formed right here, that is equal to 129 degrees. What do you get when you add 44 and 85 together? 129. So the measure of angle B plus, measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B equaled the measure of angle BCD. Interesting. I never really knew that. Good stuff to know. And they give us a formula here now for that, saying the measure of angle CAB, that's this one here, plus the measure of angle ABC, that's this one right here, equals the 129 degrees of measure of angle BCD. In addition to its three interior angles, a triangle can have an exterior angle formed by one of the sides of the triangle and the extension of the adjacent side. In the diagram, angles 4, 5, and 6, you have angle 4, 5, and 6 are exterior angles. An exterior angle is supplementary to its adjacent angle, meaning that angle 5 and angle 3 are supplementary angles. They add up to equal 180 degrees. Angle 4 and angle 1 are supplementary angles. They add up to equal 180 degrees. Angle 2 and angle 6 are also supplementary angles. They add up to equal 180 degrees. Okay? An exterior angle is supplementary to its adjacent interior angle because the two angles form a straight line. Boom, there you go. You can see they even wrote it all down for us right here. Let's keep going. Each exterior angle has two remote interior angles that are not, we're going to highlight that, not adjacent to the exterior angles. So let's select some buttons and see what we have. The first one, we're going to look at angle 4, and angle 4 is here. That means 2 and 3 are the remote interior angles. At angle 5 is right here. That means 1 and 2, the ones not adjacent to 5 are its remote interior angles. And angle 6 is right here. What's not adjacent to angle 6? Angles 1 and 2. That's going to be its remote interior angles. And now we have a word from our sponsor.
Exterior angles of triangles. An exterior angle of a triangle and its two remote interior angles have a special relationship. To examine this relationship, we'll first measure the angles of the triangle. Measure and label the interior angles. Next, measure and label the exterior angle. You know that the sum of the measures of the interior angles is 180 degrees. You also know the sum of the measures of supplementary angles is 180 degrees. Since both of the equations equal 180 degrees, we can set them equal to each other. To simplify the equation, subtract 65 from both sides. The resulting equation is 60 degrees plus 55 degrees equals 115 degrees. Notice that the sum of the measures of the two remote interior angles, 60 degrees plus 55 degrees, is equal to the measures of the exterior angle, 115 degrees. This relationship is true for any triangle. The measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of its two remote interior angles.
All right, that's going to be it. Pretty cool stuff they've shown us there. Let's see where we're going with it. Okay, let's take now, we're going to look at all that in words. It says the measure of the sum of an exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. I think we pretty well discussed all that. We got it all written down there as a pretty picture. Measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B is equal to the measure of angle 1. Pretty simple stuff here. I think that's going to be all we have on that. Let's move on to example number 3. Example number 3 says a beach chair is shown and the measure of angle 2 is 55 degrees. The measure of angle 3 is going to be 30 degrees. Find the measure of angle 1. All we have to do is add angle 2 and 3 together. So let's look at what they're going to do. They gave us a formula. Their formula says the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 1. You always do want to start with a formula. They plugged in what they know. They know that 2 is going to be 55. They know that 3 is going to be 60. 55 plus 60, that's going to end up equaling, get my brain working, it's kind of tired, 115 I do believe. Check that, and it checks. So the measure of the angle 1 in your chair, 115 degrees. Not hard, just a whole lot of time to explain. Okay, let's pause the video now and you guys do extra example number 3 on your own. The kite shown, measure of angle 2 is going to be 75 degrees. So let's go ahead and write those in. So this one is 75 degrees. The measure of angle 3 is 30 degrees. And they want to know what the measure of angle 1 is. So I'm going to do myself a formula. The measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 is equal to the measure of angle 1. Angle 2 we know is 35 degrees. Plus angle 3 we know is 30 degrees equals the measure of angle 1. That means the measure of angle 1 is going to equal to 65 degrees. That's all there is to do in those problems, guys. Super easy, super quick. You do, of course, need to have good big kid supporting work to justify your answers. What did I do wrong? 35, 30, 60. Oh, that's my problem. I wrote it wrong. That should be a 75, which means 75 plus 30. That's going to end up being 105 degrees. And now we do have the right answer. Sorry about that. Sometimes I can't read my own writing. Now we're getting into the last pair of examples we have. Here we know the measure of angle 4 is 135 degrees. And they want to find the measure of angle 2 and the measure of angle 3. Well, what else do we know? We know that we have a 90-degree angle here, which is going to be K, so we can use that information to find out what 2 and 3 are. Because it says that, it doesn't really tell us this, but it should, what's going on is angles 1 and angle 2, those are going to be congruent angles because you have an isosceles triangle. You have an isosceles triangle right here. Everything inside adds up to equal 180 degrees, right? So what do we know? We know the measure of angle 2, that's this one, plus the measure of angle LKM, that's this one, is going to equal to the measure of angle 4 right here, which is going to be that one. LKM was 90 degrees, We subtracted 90 from both sides, and when they did that, they found out that the measure of angle 2 was going to be the 45 degrees. You with me so far? And then down here, they just said the measure of angle 1, because the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 4 are going to be supplementary, so you have angle 1 plus angle 4, these two combined, those can be supplementary angles, meaning that these two make a straight line equaling 180 degrees as well. We can say that 180 minus 35, measure of angle 1, is also going to be 45 degrees. That's why they didn't tell us it was isosceles. They wanted us to work it a different way. With that said, let us now get out of this problem, and you guys work the very last problem on your own, extra example number 4. Go ahead and do that now, please. Let's get into this. This one's going to be quick and skinny. I'm going to start off with a formula that I'm just going to take and say that measure of angle 1, which I'm going to call this angle 1, plus the measure of angle 2, I'm going to call this angle 2, is going to be equal to the measure of angle 3, which I'm going to call this angle 3. That means measure of angle 1 is x, plus measure of angle 2 is 92 degrees, equals the measure of angle 3 is 123 degrees. We're going to take and subtract 92 degrees from both sides. When we do that, those are going to zero out, leaving x is equal to, we're going to do some, we get a better 2 there, do some subtracting. 3 minus 2 is 1, 12 minus 9 is 3, so the number that's going to go here, that's going to become 31 degrees. Next, we need to find out this value. We know that when we take and combine the measure of angle y plus the 123 degrees that's going to be for this angle right here, that is going to equal to 180 degrees. We do that because they are supplementary angles, okay? So I'm going to write that down, supplementary angles. Yeah, my handwriting is terrible on this pad. Now we're going to just take and subtract 123 from both sides. Put in our degree signs where they go, and that's going to leave me with the measure of angle y is going to equal to, do some borrowing, 7 and 10, that's going to give me a 7 and a 5, it's going to equal to 57 degrees, which we'll put right here. Jump back over to where our answers go. We had a, 31 and 57, 31, 57, check it. Both answers check. This right here is going to be good supporting work for it. That's all you need to know. Get started on your homework, and I'll answer any questions you have in class tomorrow.